Good morning. Good morning, all kinfolk. Good morning, all IABT. Welcome, all members and friends. My name is Jeremy Gordon, and I'm coming at you with another episode of the Training Corner. So last week, we talked about whether or not I should get a coach. Now I was explaining all of the reasons why I am getting a coach. I talked about how all of the best people have coaches, even the coaches have coaches. Talked about how all of the success that I've had has been with a coach, and how I want to have a coach to push me through the higher levels, the longer distances. Well, today I'd like to talk to you for a little bit about ways to find a coach. There are a lot of coaches out there, a lot of people are registered as coaches, and let's talk about what are the ways to find a person who can be a coach for you. The first method of finding a coach is by going to tri clubs. There are different triathlon clubs around the country. You might be a member of a triathlon club in your area, and usually those triathlon clubs have coaches that are either on staff, they have coaches who are people who are in the triathlon club and can give you some coaching things. They also have recommendations for coaches. Their triathlon club might actually be sponsored by a coach or a coaching organization. So if you're a member of a triathlon club in your area, then you might be able to find them and talk to them about coaching. If you're not a member of a triathlon club in your area, then you should be able to find some on the USAT webpage, and you might be able to use that in order to help you find a triathlon coach. The second method of finding a triathlon coach is by going to triathlon shops. In Dallas, where I'm from, we have several triathlon shops. We have Play Tri, we have Tri Shop, we have a couple of other ones as well. And at those triathlon shops, they actually have people who are coaches. Part of what they have is merchandise, part of what they have is training materials, and part of what they have is coaches. I actually found a coach at both Play Tri that I talked to and a coach at the Tri Shop that I talked to about what my goals were for this upcoming year. So if you have a Tri Shop in your area, then you might want to go there and talk to the coaches there, see if you can get an appointment, see if you can email coaches, things of that nature. Another place that you will be able to find a triathlon coach would be actual triathlon races. There are a couple of different ways that you can do this. The first way to find a triathlon coach at a race would be to go to the expo. Depending on what type of race it is, and depending on the size of the race, there's probably going to be a triathlon expo the day before. At a triathlon expo, they have different items that are for sale. You can get supplies, you can get goos, you can get last-minute tips and last-minute fixing on a bike in some situations. And in some of these expos, they also have coaches. If it's a coach that's in your area, or if it's a triathlon in your area, you might be able to find a coach at that expo that might be able to talk to you. The second way would be at the actual triathlon. You might see people who are walking around who are coaches, who are coaching their people. I don't necessarily recommend this method because if they're walking around yelling at their coachees or their trainees, then they probably need to be focused on that as opposed to passing out business cards or things of that nature. But there might be some at the actual event that you might be able to talk to, get their information, and then reach out to them later on. The fourth method is online. If you have the internet, which if you didn't, I don't know how you would be watching this video, but you can go online, you can look at blogs, you can look at different tri resources. There are a couple of different triathlon message boards. There are a couple of different triathlon groups online that you can use in order to search for a coach, and you can look online. You can also look at blogs. You can look at the blogs of different triathlon coaches online in order to see what they're talking about and see if there are people that know what they're talking about. They're just out there giving that information away about themselves, so then go ahead and use it. Now, we've been talking about triathlon coaches in different groups. Well, a couple of weeks ago in IABT's message boards and IABT's different messages, there was a post about who has different certifications, who is level 1, who is level 2, USAT, who is other different organizations, like Keisha is a coach for track and field, and there are different running coaches that are out there. So that's also a resource that you can use. If you click search and you type in certifications, then you might be able to find that, and we can put a bump on it for you. That's the way you can see it. There is actually, with the launching of IABT's webpage, there is going to be some more about that on the webpage and different things that we're doing about that. So be sure to stay tuned. The fifth way that you can look for and find a triathlon coach is with referrals. An article on DC Rainmaker's page, a blog that he did about triathlon and triathlon coaching, indicates that you might be able to get a more clear answer about whether or not a triathlon coach is good in person than as opposed to online, over the internet, or in places like that. So if you want to walk up to someone, find out who is a good triathlon coach, maybe go to a triathlon shop or go to a race, ask a fast person who's your coach, and get a referral from them, then that actually might be a good way for you to find a triathlon coach and talk to somebody in person. That way they can give you an honest, candid answer. If you go through all those methods and you are unable to still find a triathlon coach, there are other methods. There are online training programs that you can either print them out and you can hold on to them, or you can use training software or data software like Training Peaks, which we'll cover in a couple of weeks. You can use those different things in order to find a race schedule and a training schedule that fits you. However, be warned, there is a big difference in doing a running schedule, like you find a schedule online for a marathon or a half marathon. There's a big difference in training for a half marathon and training for a triathlon. So there's going to be a big difference in training for and getting ready for, and the plans that are online for a marathon and the plans for a triathlon. So if you're going to do it, I would use it as a last resort. Okay, everyone, that's it for this week's edition of the Training Corner. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about watches. We're going to talk about triathlon data. We're going to talk about how to use that data, how to store that data, and all those different things. Your triathlon coach will probably have some sort of data software or some sort of thing that they use to monitor how you're doing. So in order for you to know more about that, we're going to talk about it next week. Please leave your information or your comments or your questions in the comments below. Thanks.